All right. So I've been thinking, have you ever read your horoscope and thought, okay, some of this is me, but a lot of this isn't really me? Or maybe you know your sun sign. Everyone does, but you don't feel like that sign all the time. Sometimes you're more intense. Sometimes you're quieter. Sometimes you're way more reactive than your sign supposedly is. That's not because astrology is wrong, per se. It's because you're only looking at about one third of the picture. Today, I want to talk about the big three: your sun, moon, and rising signs, what they actually represent, why they matter more than daily horoscopes, and I'll be using my own big three as an example so you can start making sense of yours. Not trying to convince or anything, this is just a framework to help for self understanding. So, first, what the big three actually is. So, when people say, "What's your sign?" they're really asking, "What's your sun sign?" But astrology doesn't work like a personality monolith, it's more like layers. Here's the simplest way to think about the big three: sun sign, it's who you're becoming, it guides you along. Moon sign, how you feel when no one's watching. And rising sign, how you enter the world, how people see you. Or to make it even simpler, sun is your identity, moon is your emotional operating system, and rising, your first impression. Most internal conflicts that you feel, that you mistake for inconsistency, those are just different parts of the chart pulling weight in different moments. Next, we're going to look at the sun sign itself, the core story. The sun sign is the direction of your life, not necessarily who you were, but who you're growing into. For me, that's Sagittarius. Sagittarius energy is about truth seeking, meaning, freedom, big picture thinking. It's the philosopher, the traveler, the there has to be more than this sign. So, for me, I'm driven by understanding. I don't just want answers, I want context. So, how does that show up? For me, I love questioning systems. I don't like feeling boxed in, and I love having room to explore ideas, identities, and beliefs. But here's the part people misunderstand: your sun sign isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet pressure guiding your long term choices, even when other parts of you are louder in the moment. That's why people say, or they may say, I'm a Sagittarius, but I don't act like one. You may not act like it, but you probably move toward truth, growth, or freedom over time. That's just the sun doing its job. Next is my favorite part, the moon sign, your private world. So let's talk about it. Your moon sign is your emotional reflexes. Excuse me. It's how you process pain, it's how you bond, it's how you protect yourself. My moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio moons don't feel emotion, they experience them at depth. A lot of intensity behind the scenes. It looks like feeling everything deeply but showing very little. Trust issues that aren't paranoia, they're pattern recognition. And emotional loyalty that runs way deeper than words. For me, this means I might come across chill or optimistic, but internally, I'm tracking emotional undercurrents like a radar. Scorpio moon energy asks, is this safe? Is this real? What's being left unsaid? If you've ever felt like I don't open up easily, but when I do, it's all or nothing, that's the moon energy talking. And here's a few key points if you're interested. If your sun feels like the hero of the story, your moon is the backstory that explains everything. Your rising sign, the mask, and the motor. It's the most misunderstood one. The rising sign is how people experience you, your instinctive reactions, the vibe you give off before people know you. Mine is Aries rising. Aries rising energy is direct, fast, assertive, action oriented. So, even though I've got deep emotional waters underneath, what people often see first is drive. This shows up as acting before overthinking, coming off confident even when I'm unsure, and not loving hesitation or passive energy. Rising signs are survival modes. They're how you learn to move through the world early on. And a lot of people may say, that doesn't feel like me. It's because it's not your inner self, it's your interface. So, how the big three work together. Now, here's where astrology can become useful, actually. For me, Sagittarius sun wants truth and expansion. Scorpio moon needs emotional depth and safety. Aries rising moves fast and leads with instinct. That creates tension, but also power. It explains why in my life I can be optimistic and very intense at the same time. Also, why I want freedom, but also deep emotional bonds, and why I jump into things confidently, but process them privately. Nothing is contradictory, even if it sounds so. It's all just layered. And that is what I want you to take away. So, if you ever felt like I don't fit my sign, I act different depending on the situation, I confuse people and myself, hey, just relax. You're fine. You're a multidimensional being with a lot to offer. So, how do you use your big three? Instead of asking, what's my sign? Try asking, what motivates me long term? What do you want? Next, how do I emotionally protect myself? How do I deal with life? And how do I instinctively respond to the world which is arising. So when you understand those three pieces, self judgment kind of relaxes a little bit. You become a little less self critical. Patterns start to make sense. Instead of being upset with someone because they're quiet and standoffish, maybe learn their sign and see why they're quiet and standoffish. See if that's how they recharge. Growth becomes intentional. Intention is one of my favorite words. You want to live with intention. Live every day like you mean it. Love it and enjoy it. Astrology doesn't tell you who to be. It gives language to who you already are. If any of this resonated, if you enjoyed it, if you have fun, I encourage you, look up your big three and use it as a way to try to understand yourself, your inner mechanics. And if you don't believe in astrology, that's fine. Just maybe treat it like a personality framework or something. It helps to reflect. If it did help to reflect, it did its job. If you want, you can drop your big three in the comments, not so anyone can judge you, but so we can compare notes on how complex us humans actually are. Thank you so much. Have a great day.